Hello, hello, and welcome to another little update on the next new moon, which is tomorrow. So, this one is really very intense. Usually, a new moon is less intense than a full moon. There's just so much happening around. This one, I'm going to go into a few little bits that we need to really watch out for tomorrow night. Now, right now, I'm just going to talk to you about some transits that are happening that will affect us. I'm going to read some cards on what we need to do best to prepare for to have the really best experience. And the new moon is always the time when we can change to make something, to start a new cycle. So we will be talking about that. What else was I going to do? So I have a few things that I want to say, and then I'm going to make a meditation for tomorrow night, but I'm not going to have it now because we always do that new moon meditation immediately after, either on or after the moon is new. So as it's going to be 6:54 p.m. Irish UK time tomorrow, the 28th, I'm going to set that live to come on. It's not going to be live. I'm going to pre-record it because I am going away tomorrow. I'll be away for a couple of days, so I am going to make sure that you all get access to that as soon as the moon goes new. And I would advise, if you can, to try to listen to that meditation as soon as you can afterwards, because this one is really, really intense. So first of all, a couple of little things about it. In numerology, the sun and the moon are both at 5 degrees in Leo. At a new moon, they're both in the same place in the sky. Full moon, they're opposite. So they're at 5 degrees in Leo. And interestingly enough, the whole date tomorrow adds up to 23, which reduces to 5. So that in numerology, 23 reduces to 5. And 23 is also the strongest, one of the biggest, most powerful numbers. I think it actually is the most powerful number in numerology. 23 is called the royal star of the lion. And funnily enough, we are, it's in that sign of Leo as well. So 5 is about freedom. It's about flexibility. We need to be open to change, and we need, really more than anything in this one, to be flexible with our emotions. So Leo is a fixed sign, a fixed fire sign. So a fixed sign can be stubborn, can be you know uh, entrenched in their ideas. But Leo has a beautiful energy. It's very sociable, very upbeat, very optimistic, loves to express itself, but can be, fixed in their ideas, very creative, and loves to share all of that creativeness and whatever they have in their minds with the world. So this could really bring enormous, they can have enormous willpower, enormous tenacity, and this whole moon can bring that to everybody. You don't have to be Leo because it's somewhere in your birth chart, in one of your houses. So on what we need to look out for on the shadow side is being stubborn and unmovable, especially if there are ideas that are really entrenched, because it can cause clashes with other people who have equally entrenched ideas in the other side. So we need to look at that flexibility, which that number 5 really is allowing us to see and to go into. Leo is also linked with the heart. It's open-hearted. And don't forget that our heart is so powerful. The electromagnetic frequency of our heart is so much more powerful than the brain. I think I did hear mention something like 5,000 times more powerful than the brain. And if you follow anybody like Joe Dispenza, I love Joe Dispenza. He's done an awful lot of experiments on people in meditation when their heart is open, allowing that, going into that sense of open-hearted frequency, raising your vibration. And he had electrodes, electrodes attached to the brain, and he could see what was happening in the brain when people reached that level, and it was powerful. It's, sent some of the scientists kind of in a scurry. They thought people were having, must be having, um, kind of overactive brain activity, like about to spike a seizure or something, but they weren't. They were in a state of bliss, but that heart energy was coherent with all of their other, it wasn't chaotic all over the place. It was coherent and beautiful. And when we do that, actually, when we raise our vibration and have that coherent energy putting towards something, that is how we are manifesting. And the heart is so much stronger. And when the heart is open and the heart is stronger, and we are focusing on a lighter vibration, we are moving towards that. It is so much more powerful. Okay, so there's um, a lot of planets are in fixed signs during this new moon. Mercury and the sun and the moon are in Leo. Saturn is in the fixed sign of Aquarius, and Saturn is that planet, that sort of responsible sort of type energy in Aquarius. Mars, Uranus, and the North Node are all in the fixed sign of Taurus. Now, this is significant because on the 31st of July, so the new moon is on the 28th, on the 31st of July, just a few days after, and going into the 1st of August, we have Mars, Uranus, and the North Node all exact at 18 degrees in Taurus. Now, I've been talking about this for a while, but we have been feeling this for at least the past 2 weeks, and that energy is massive together. So the North Node is about where we're going, where we're moving towards. Uranus is that freedom loving, sovereign, stand in your power, innovative, always pushing to up level to the next and highest, to our highest potential, loves to shake things up, loves newness, innovation. And Mars, of course, is the sign of, it can be passionate, but it can also be a little aggressive. But it's has that massive energy. So the two of those are conjunct with the North Node, and the North Node is where we are heading. It's where we were moving towards, so they're going to be almost exact on that new moon. But in fact, we've been feeling that already, as I said, for 2 weeks, and we will feel it for another 2 weeks. It's one of the biggest, if not the biggest, event this year astrologically. And it's actually taking place in the sign of Taurus. So Taurus is about our safety and our security, and it's also about the economy. So there could be that sort of shaky ground, that, eruptive sort of shaky energy in that. So okay, so I'll talk more about that in a minute, and how we can respond to that. Now, with the meditation that will be coming for the new moon, what I always do is I get all of this information and I put it into a meditation will support, that will allow us to stay centered and grounded and use the best energy, use the energy for our highest good rather than for, because this energy can be very fiery. And what we want to do is to be able to rise above it. We don't have to get carried away on it. We can hold ourselves, from a higher level, from our highest self, and be able to use this energy to move forward in the direction that we know we want when we're centered. So I'll put all of that into the meditation for tomorrow. So Jupiter also tomorrow is stationing retrograde, and it's in Aries. So it's about to go retrograde, and it'll station um, uh, retrograde. So it means it feels like it's stopping in the sky, and it's forming a trine to the sun and the moon. And there is another. I'll talk about that in a moment. I'm not as certain about. So there is a Kuiper belt planet called Ceres, and it's conjunct with the sun and the moon as well. And Ceres is the goddess of harvests and grain. So this is about our food and our you know, yeah, our food industry, possibly. So Jupiter is forming a trine. So Jupiter, as you remember, is the, that huge planet, shines light onto everything. It expands everything. So when it is forming that trine to the sun and the moon, it's really going to expand what is happening tomorrow night. And because it stations retrograde, you can amplify that by a lot, 10 or 20 times. It really is going to be huge. Okay. So we can expand that. And what I'm going to put into that meditation is to use that expansion for good, rather than to allow it to let us lose our heads, because there is all of that energy. And because the sun and the moon are in that fixed fiery sign of Leo, we will also need to balance that energy, so that we're using that energy for purpose, for passion, for being tenacious with our goals and moving forward in the way we want to go, rather than losing the head and getting angry, because it might seem that things are a little wild and out of control. That can happen. It does seem that things are out of control and a little wild all over the world, both in fieriness and fires, and all of this energy is what astrologers have been talking about happening at this time. But what we can do is, we don't have to follow along or go with that, because there is a positive and a negative or a shadow side for every angle. So what we can use that to sort of take back our own power, to stand in our own power, to stand in our own sovereignty. We are unique, we are divinely created, and we are here to do something. But when we bring back our power and we shine love on it, and when we bring ourselves back to the heart, we can rise above all of that, so that we're actually looking down on what's happening, and you have a bird's eye view of where you are. And I've spoken about this before, that when we can do that, and I'm going to put that into the meditation, to be able to rise above it and see the pattern, see what's happening, and then respond in a calm and loving way, rather than reacting in a fiery way. When we can rise ourselves up to our highest potential, to our highest self. Okay, let me see, what else have I put here. Yeah, so I'm going to work with the meditation, where we're going to drop into peace and trusting that we're heading in that right direction. Now, what I would suggest that you do today before that is to look at what you're ready to let go of. And I know all of this, especially the last few days, I've been feeling exhausted, and I've been meeting people who are feeling exhausted. Go with that. What is that telling you? Usually exhaustion is something that we need to let go of. What is it you're done with? If we don't make these decisions ourselves, this kind of energy in the universe right now is going to make them for us. And that's where those hard angles come in, where we're forced to take action because we're so uncomfortable. But when we stop and think, okay, so we're just feeling tired, we're just feeling that we need to let go of something, and we decide to do that, we're using that energy in a much more fruitful and possibly easier way. And we can sort of like ride this energy like you're riding a dragon, rather than be faced with it coming towards you. So what is it that you want to let go of? Think about that, and be ready to think about that for the meditation tomorrow. And then look at, because you're letting go of this, if you were free to do anything, if you were free to change something in your world, if you were free to, to go to the next level, to manifest in this new moon something new, what would that be? So that's what we will set our intentions around. So our intentions are things that we can do. So our intentions might be letting go of that thing that we want to let go of, or it might be to take action on something that we want to move towards. So there are action steps that we do need to take. But we can also make a big wish around this new moon. And because the energy is in Leo, and that sign of, it's really sociable and it's really bubbly and it's really out there. We can even if that's not in your chart, you can actually use this energy that we have at the moment to do something big. I'm laughing because I have Leo rising, and my moon is in Leo, so there's a lot of Leo energy. I was laughing when I was writing this up because it is in a fixed sign. It is a fixed sign, and I am also Aquarius, which is another fixed sign. So there is a lot of stubborn energy in me. But just looking at that and knowing I can use this energy tomorrow to remind myself to be more flexible, remind myself that I don't have to, bulldoze or go straight towards where I want to go. There is that, course direction all the time. Remember, when an airplane is moving from A to B, it's constantly course directing, but we're going in the right direction. Once you know where you're going, you can be flexible and you can meander around through life's, up, upheavals and things that happen unexpectedly. Um, Let me see. So what I'm going to do for that meditation is I'm going to, as always, I center ourselves. I make sure that we're grounded and centered and build a lot of protection around so that we are safe and protected. So that when we do open up the heart and we go into that sense of expanding the heart and bringing in that tranquility and peace and love, that we are protected and safe in it. I'm going to bring in a lot of light energy and balance. And then we will be looking at I'll be going through some of these transits and allowing us to use that purpose and passion rather than anything negative. So do tune in for that tomorrow. I will be posting a link in wherever you've seen this. You will see the meditation will be dropping in at 6:54 p.m. tomorrow for the exact new moon. Might go a couple of minutes earlier than that, because by the time we start that meditation, it will be, right at that perfect time. But if you can't make it on the time, it's still good to do this meditation in the next couple of days. As soon as you can, the better. But you can still do this meditation right up to the full moon, because I'll be doing something in this where we're setting our intentions and we're moving towards that greater fullness of the full moon, which will be in another just over 2 weeks time. So I'm going to just choose a couple of cards. So I'm just asking for my guides and angels to give me clear direction in love and light about anything that I haven't said that might be useful right now for this new moon in Leo. Nothing has jumped out, so I'm just going to cut the cards. Okay. Right, interesting. Gosh, yeah, okay. So we've got thoughts and ideas, and we've got the page of thoughts and ideas, or the page of swords. So the page is newness. It's starting sort of a new phase. It's kind of early stages, and we need to watch very carefully now our thoughts. Our thoughts can be detrimental to us, or they can be really empowering. So it's time to choose new thoughts. It's time to look at where your thoughts are leading you. we have 60,000 plus thoughts a day, and it may seem impossible to, look at all of your thoughts, but you will know the thoughts that you need to change by how you're feeling in your body. Remember that your internal guidance system, are your emotions. So if we're feeling bad in any way, if you're feeling panicky, if you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling anger, any of those things are lower vibrational feelings that feel uncomfortable in your body, and they will give you um, a feeling that you don't want. And all you need to do is stop and think, breathe. And I like to look up. If you look up, when we look up, we're connecting with our subconscious part of our mind. And when you look up and just are curious about, what was I thinking to make me feel like this? You'll get an answer. May not be immediately, it may be immediately. The more you do this, the more you tune into your body. What is it that I was thinking? And you can actually change your thoughts. You can change, are they, is there a little voice in your head frightening you? Or is there a little voice in your head making you angry because of some thing that you've heard, or you've been, has sparked some negative feeling? And then just ask yourself, is this true? And what do I feel when I feel this? Well, obviously not good. And what would it feel like to change this? How can you change that thought? And just choose a slightly easier thought and see how it feels in your body. And then choose new words, just change the wording and be open. Always be curious and be open. I feel that this is new. There's something new happening. The We also got the following on from it, which is the Knight of Swords. So something is going to be happening really quickly right now. So there is a change coming. I feel there's a big change coming, change in thoughts and ideas in the collective even, and it's coming fast. This seems that it's coming really quickly. I'm just going to check one card here now, because these are a new set of cards, and it doesn't. Yeah, here's the world. So So this is the world. It doesn't say it on my card, but it is something huge is going to happen. So it's signifying the entire world. Now, this something big, some big change. I've been feeling this for a long time, and I feel that we're getting closer and closer. And this significant event, around this new moon, be open, be flexible. um, Watch where your mind is going. Watch your thoughts around whatever happens. Um, don't go into panic. I would strongly advise anybody who's still listening to mainstream media to shut it out, to stop it, to just stop it. It is designed to fear, to make us afraid. Fear is a detrimental emotion. Yes, fear can be useful if you've been chased by a lion, but if you're living in fear constantly because of things that you're seeing and hearing and absorbing, you're putting yourself in a state of fight or flight, which is bad for your body, bad for your mind, because we don't, our thinking mind, we can't choose our thoughts when we're like that. Our mind takes over. So we need to breathe into it, let it go, become curious, look up, ask yourself, what have I been watching? What have I been thinking? What is a better thought around this? Now, the world I feel, is moving into this, we're moving into this age of awakening, of connection, of love, of connection with other people. And I'm really, really excited about this. And I've been talking about change for possibly 3 years in my programs. I know I started a breakthrough to freedom program possibly almost 3 years. It is almost 3 years ago, actually. And it is that breakthrough that there is. And I do feel that we're all moving towards a much freer society, a much freer time. But sometimes before we make that breakthrough, we have to break down. There has to be a breaking down of the old to break through to a new level. And that's where we're going in my in all of the cards that I'm reading, in everything that I've been seeing and getting. So tune in for tomorrow. Tomorrow evening, if you're in UK or Ireland, it will be at 6:54 p.m. Or probably be slightly before that. You'll see the message, and so change that for wherever you are in the world, and I will look forward to serving you then. I'm going to be making that today, so it'll be dropped in for you tomorrow. So have a really, really special and wonderful new moon. This can be wonderful. This can be really wonderful and exciting. It depends on what way you choose to look at it. Lots of love. Bye for now.